Everyone knows that Donald Trump and his family are deep into crypto. But the truth is, they might not even walk away with the biggest gains. The real winners could be the cabinet insiders quietly holding millions in the very assets they regulate. From the Commerce Department to the Treasury to the SEC, Trump's appointees brought their crypto portfolios with them. So today, we're mapping out who owns what, the policies they're pushing, and the cryptos that stand to benefit. My name is Guy, and you're watching The Coin Bureau. Right, first things first, nothing in this video is financial advice. We're just keeping track of which Trump appointees are checking their Coinbase accounts during cabinet meetings. If you want to keep learning about how insiders are reshaping crypto, then smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Now, let's start with a quick recap. The Trump administration has moved fast on crypto. Executive Order 14178 dropped on the 23rd of January 2025, establishing the President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets. And before the summer had even got properly underway, we had the Genius Act for stablecoins, new 401k rules allowing crypto investments, and the end of Operation Choke Point 2.0, the debanking of America's crypto industry. That is good news for crypto and even better news for the people making the rules. Financial disclosures show that 1 in 5 of Trump's closest allies and top appointees holds crypto or related investments, with disclosed holdings in the hundreds of millions of dollars. But that's just what they're legally required to report. The real number, through venture funds, family offices, and corporate vehicles, is likely multiples higher. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has called it, quote, the golden age of crypto. What he means, though, is the golden age of regulatory arbitrage, where knowing which official owns what becomes more valuable than your favorite indicator. Because when the people writing the rules have millions riding on the outcome, following their money becomes the ultimate alpha. But guess what? It's all legal. Ethics waivers, disclosure forms, and carefully structured holdings create plausible deniability while ensuring that everyone gets paid. It's not insider trading if you write the laws that pump your bags. And the scale dwarfs anything we've seen before. Previous administrations had their crypto-curious members, a junior staffer here, a tech advisor there. This administration, though, has placed crypto stakeholders in control of Treasury, Commerce, and the SEC, and created entirely new positions specifically to advance digital asset interests. It's full spectrum capture of financial policy, where each role amplifies the others. And we're going to break down exactly how each component works. So let's start with David Sacks. Now, Sacks serves as Trump's AI and crypto czar, a newly created position reporting directly to the president. His background includes executive roles at PayPal, selling corporate social networking service Yammer to Microsoft for $1.2 billion, and co-founding Craft Ventures, which manages billions in assets. Sacks made a big show of selling his liquid crypto holdings when appointed, including BTC, ETH, and Sol. He wanted to avoid, quote, even the appearance of conflict, which is very good of him. Just don't ask about his ongoing role as co-founder and general partner of Craft, which holds massive stakes in crypto infrastructure companies. BitGo, Craft's most significant crypto holding, provides institutional custody services and manages billions in digital assets. It's also the custodian for WBTC, the largest wrapped Bitcoin token. BitGo is also planning an IPO, which is likely to be approved thanks to the crypto-friendly SEC. Now, you might think having a stake in a crypto custodian while writing the rules for that same industry would raise some red flags. And you'd be right, it did. Which is why the White House gave Sacks 2 ethics waivers that explicitly cleared him to work on policies directly related to his financial holdings. The justification was that his expertise is, quote, indispensable, and his remaining interests, less than 3.8% of total assets, aren't, quote, substantial. Well, that's a relief. What's 3.8% of a few $100 million anyway? Wait, don't answer that. Well, all right, it's probably 8 figures when you count the carried interest from Craft Ventures' crypto investments, but who's really counting? Certainly not the Office of Government Ethics, which lost its director just before ethics waivers were issued. Now, to be fair, Sacks isn't hiding any of this. He's been completely transparent about his holdings and his vision. He's betting that nobody cares because everyone's too busy getting rich to complain. And he's probably right. On that note, meanwhile, if you're looking to maximize your crypto gains, then check out the Coin Bureau deals page. That's where you'll find sign-up bonuses of up to $100,000, trading fee discounts of up to 50%, and cashback on deposits of up to 75% on crypto exchanges. These deals won't be around for long, so take advantage of them ASAP using the link down below or the QR code on the screen. Moving on, and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has an even more brazen story. His firm, Cantor Fitzgerald, is the primary custodian for Tether's $165 billion in reserves. Cantor earns tens of millions annually just from managing these massive reserves. And within the past year, Cantor has negotiated a 5% ownership stake in Tether, valued at up to $600 million. They're also launching a $2 billion Bitcoin lending program, reportedly with Tether's backing. When Tether made a $150 million investment into Bitcoin miner BitDeer, Cantor Fitzgerald acted as the placing agent. Now, the obvious play here is USDT itself. With Lutnick in the White House, it could be protecting Tether from regulatory scrutiny, evidenced by the fact that USDT's dominance in stablecoin markets is looking more robust than ever. But the second-order effects matter more. Lutnick's political cover benefits Tether's investments like BitDeer, the mining infrastructure developer Northern Data, in which Tether has a controlling stake, and Rumble, the video platform trying to challenge YouTube, which Tether has financed to the tune of $775 million. It can't hurt these companies that the Commerce Secretary is Howard Lutnick, can it? Now, upon confirmation, Lutnick pledged to divest his business interests, handing control to his sons. His son Brandon, who interned at Tether's office in Switzerland, is now chairman of Cantor. Convenient succession planning. Lutnick can claim he's divested while his family fortune remains tied directly to Tether's success. The Commerce Secretary is essentially Tether's man in Washington, positioned to champion stablecoin favorable policies while potentially shielding his primary business partner from regulatory threats. Next up, we have Todd Blanche, who presents the wildest conflict of interest so far. Trump's former personal defense attorney is now Deputy Attorney General, the second most powerful position at the Department of Justice. This is the guy who stood beside Trump when he was convicted on 34 felony counts last year in his hush money trial. Blanche filed every appeal. And now he's co-directing federal law enforcement priorities. 1 month after confirmation, Blanche issued a 4-page memo entitled Ending Regulation by Prosecution. The memo fundamentally realigned the DOJ's approach to crypto. It declared that the DOJ, quote, is not a digital assets regulator and ordered the immediate dissolution of the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. The memo also directed the Market Integrity and Major Frauds Unit to cease crypto enforcement and prosecutors not to charge things like unlicensed money transmitting or unregistered securities offerings unless there's clear evidence of willful intent, which is a remarkably high bar. So now the criminal enforcement apparatus that pursued crypto crimes for years is gone. The specialized teams that understood blockchain forensics and DeFi exploits are disbanded. The memo states that the DOJ will pursue criminals, but, quote, will not pursue actions against the platforms that these enterprises utilize, which is basically handing a blank check to DeFi. Blanche's financial disclosures, meanwhile, reveal hundreds of thousands of dollars held in BTC and ETH, but also smaller positions, including Ethereum Classic's ETC, Polygon's Matic, now Pol, Polkadot's DOT, Cardano's ADA, Quant's QNT, and the Brave browser's Basic Attention Token, or BAT. But the real insight is less about Blanche's personal holdings and more about what his memo means for America's crypto industry. By raising the bar for criminal prosecution to willfulness, he's decriminalized huge portions of crypto activity. Centralized DeFi protocols operating without licenses are protected. Unregistered token sales are safe unless prosecutors can prove deliberate, knowing violations. Also consider the broader context. Trump's former personal lawyer is now running DOJ policy that directly benefits Trump's crypto ventures like World Liberty Financial, which raised $300 million selling a governance token with questionable utility. Under previous DOJ enforcement, that's a securities fraud enforcement action waiting to happen. But under Blanche's new willfulness standard, prosecutors would need to prove founders knew they were violating specific rules and intentionally did so, an almost impossible bar to clear. Okay, next up, Paul Atkins, the new SEC chairman. After leaving his first role at the SEC in 2008, Atkins founded Potomac Global Partners, a financial services consulting firm whose client list includes several major crypto exchanges and DeFi protocols, relationships that now benefit from his regulatory decisions. As SEC chairman, Atkins recently launched Project Crypto, declaring that, quote, most crypto assets are not securities. 6 words that undid years of regulatory ambiguity and unlocked the administration's entire crypto agenda. Now, the stated goal of Project Crypto is to modernize securities rules to help America's financial markets to move on-chain, thereby cementing the US as the global leader in digital finance. In practice, it creates safe harbors for ICOs, airdrops, and network rewards, protects DeFi developers from liability, and enables so-called super apps offering trading, staking, and lending under single licenses. And if you want to find out what all of that means, then you can check out our full report on Project Crypto, linked to in the description. Now, under Atkins, SEC crypto enforcement actions have fallen off a cliff. The Commission disbanded its crypto assets and cyber unit, and Wells notices from the Gensler era have been withdrawn for projects agreeing to lighter registration requirements. As for which projects benefit, well, Coinbase is an obvious winner because they can offer every service imaginable without complex state licenses. But the protocols themselves matter more. Aave and Compound can serve US users directly without fear. MakerDAO can expand DAI without stablecoin enforcement concerns. Every DeFi blue chip benefits from this framework. Project Crypto also proposes the creation of a regulatory sandbox that allows firms to bring novel business models to market without full compliance with existing regulations, which sounds like a get-out-of-jail-free card for DeFi devs. Bullish. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary and former hedge fund manager Scott Bessent's 2024 disclosure showed Bitcoin exposure in the hundreds of thousands through various instruments, including futures, options, and fund investments. He also held positions in Bitcoin mining companies and crypto-adjacent fintech stocks. As Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent is championing the Genius Act for stablecoins while dismantling barriers between crypto and traditional banking. For example, by issuing guidance ending reputational risk as a factor in bank examinations, the very tool used to keep banks away from crypto. When banks can freely service crypto companies and stablecoins receive blessing as dollar instruments, trillions in potential inflows are unlocked. And Bessent's background matters here. He made his fortune at Soros Fund Management, working for the man who broke the Bank of England by shorting the British pound in 1992. He understands speculative currency attacks better than anyone. So, when Bessent looks at stablecoins, he doesn't see a threat to dollar dominance. He sees an opportunity to extend it. Think about it. Every USDT and USDC in circulation requires actual dollars in reserve. That's $165 billion in USDT alone, all creating demand for US dollars and US Treasury bills. It's dollar hegemony on crypto rails, and Bessent knows the game perfectly. The stablecoin plays become obvious once you see them through this lens. USDT dominates through Lutnick's protection at Commerce. USDC benefits from regulatory clarity at the SEC. And now, with federal frameworks in place, megabanks like JP Morgan and Bank of America are rushing to launch their own dollar stablecoins. Each one extends dollar hegemony further into the digital economy. And finally, we have Vice President J.D. Vance, who also holds hundreds of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin, according to the August 2024 financial disclosure filed during his VP candidacy. BTC has since doubled in value, meaning that the Veep could be sitting on 7 figures worth of sats. Now, he frames crypto as a, quote, hedge against bad policy making from Washington, while his boss makes the policies in Washington. But the deeper story runs through his venture capital ties. Vance co-founded Naya Capital with Peter Thiel, the PayPal billionaire who introduced Vance to Trump in 2021. They also co-founded the Rockbridge Network together, a donor network designed to influence tech policy on the right. This isn't just a business partnership, it's political architecture. Now, Vance retains million-dollar stakes in funds managed by Naya Capital and Revolution Partners. According to watchdog group Accountable.us, Revolution holds an investment in the Bitcoin Company, a startup operating a Bitcoin investing and rewards app. This creates a direct link between Vance's venture fund stakes and the crypto market he promotes from the White House. Meanwhile, Thiel's Founders Fund has massive crypto positions, having bought $200 million worth of BTC and ETH back in 2023. It also has a 9.1% stake in Bitcoin miner Bitmine Immersion Technologies and backing for crypto startups like the Bullish Exchange and Igloo Inc. Okay, so now let's look at how these appointments interconnect. When a DeFi protocol launches today, it enters a world overseen by officials with direct stakes in its success. Atkins declaring that most cryptos aren't securities removes the existential threat that hung over every project. Blanche's DOJ memo requiring willful violations essentially decriminalizes most regulatory breaches. Bessent removing reputational risk from bank examinations opens the TradFi floodgates. Now, the market understands this perfectly, which is why we're seeing such dramatic moves. DeFi TVL has ripped past $153 billion, up 53% year to date, with lending making up $57 billion. These aren't random pumps, they're the market pricing in regulatory certainty for the first time ever. And it's not just crypto-native money moving. Venture capital deployment into crypto hit $4.8 billion in Q1 2025, the highest level since 2022. And TradFi integration is only accelerating. BlackRock's tokenized money market fund on Ethereum, BUIDL, is approaching a $3 billion market cap. Franklin Templeton is shilling its on-chain mutual funds. JP Morgan continues expanding blockchain payment infrastructure. Each integration locks in another piece of the new financial architecture the Trump administration is building. Trump has assembled a cabinet where personal financial interests align uncannily with policy responsibilities. Financial disclosures give us a glimpse behind the curtain, from Sachs's venture portfolio to Vance's direct Bitcoin positions to Lutnick's indirect Tether stake. What we're watching is coordinated policy changes benefiting specific sectors. Stablecoins get federal frameworks while their biggest custodian runs commerce. DeFi gets safe harbors while venture investors write the regulations. Bitcoin gets strategic reserve status while holders occupy the treasury and the vice presidency. Now, of course, this cozy arrangement comes with an expiry date. The 2026 midterms could shift congressional dynamics, and regulatory reversal is always possible under a different administration. And history shows these windows of regulatory capture never stay open forever. Believe it or not, but the dot-com era saw similar regulatory capture before the crash. The 2008 financial crisis also followed years of banks writing their own rules. The playbook is always the same. Loosening leads to accumulation, accumulation leads to excess, and excess leads to the inevitable tears and tightening. But that's a future problem. Right now, the administration's 4-year term provides something crypto has never had: certainty. Projects launching today have guaranteed runway until 2029. That's why infrastructure investments, institutional products, and regulatory frameworks are all being built on this timeline. Everyone knows the window, so everyone's rushing to get through it. And when the people writing the rules have millions riding on the outcome, the house always wins. So, the least we can do is understand the game. Watch their portfolios, monitor their policies, track the capital flows. Your portfolio might thank you, or you might lose everything, but at least you'll know whose yacht you helped to pay for. Anyway, if you enjoyed learning about Washington's bag pumpers-in-chief, then check out this video to find out how the SEC's Project Crypto could pump yours too. Now there's a sentence I never thought I would say. Okay, that's all from me for now. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Guy, over and out.